Welcome everyone to this delayed edition of the Brum Is Blue show. It is February the 24th, 2022, and I'm as always Craig Hadley. We begin this week's show with a bit of a glassy-eyed moment, really, a bit of an emotional one for fans who have seen this player play for a long time. The England debut of ex-Blues goalkeeper Hannah Hampton. As Blues fans, we all know just how good Hannah can be, regardless of where she plays. We know that that is a true statement. Less than a year ago, she had her dreams of going to the Olympic Games dashed by a message from the FA just within the few hours leading up to the game against Everton for Birmingham City. The news broke her mentally on that day, and she had a terrible game, making a few mistakes that cost us. But not surprisingly, given the actions from the FA that day, to send them a message in such a way, they have to learn lessons from this and how they release squads, especially for such a big tournament. You'd think that they'd do it personally for every player, just so whatever happens, they know that it's heartfelt, that they might have another chance later on. It's a business action in a world where we need more empathy nowadays, and hopefully they do learn their lessons from that. And it's just great to see. She hasn't obviously had a bit of a testing season for Aston Villa so far, but that doesn't mean she doesn't deserve this shot. There's a lot of actions last season, things we saw from her, just to see just how good a keeper she is, and that she deserves this sort of opportunity. And she's good, and she's proved that against Spain. And it was a dream debut for her, playing against the country that she grew up as a kid. If you don't know, she grew up in Spain, playing for Villarreal as a kid. And keeping a clean sheet against them as well is just a dramatic and superb. You can't ask for a better debut than that for a goalkeeper. And I would like to point you in the direction of Hannah's interview with former Blues goalkeeper Ben Foster. If you want to learn more about her, it's a terrific interview that it delves into her career up to this date, her time in Spain, playing for Stoke, and joining the Blues, and then obviously going to Villa this past summer. But search that out for all on good podcast platforms. Just search for Ben Foster, Hannah Hampton, and it should come up. And it's also available on YouTube as a video, so check that one out, and we will continue with the show. So, speaking of goalkeepers, it moves us nicely onto our next segment, and that's Emily Ramsey. She took part for England under-23s this past week, playing against France. The stopper was featured in a 1-1 draw against the French team, so it's good to see her getting involved in England setups going forward. Obviously, there's a lot of abundance of goalkeepers at top level at the moment for the Lionesses, but obviously her chance might come in the future. So good, best of luck for her, and see her back in goal soon for Birmingham City. Next up, we're going to go on to the Pinatar Cup. This was the big one involving teams for Birmingham City. We had players playing for Scotland and Ireland in this one, Republic of Ireland, I should say. Scotland, unfortunately, 23 in the rankings before this tournament, took on Wales, who are 33 in the rankings, and they lost 3-1 to Wales in that opening game. Lisa Robertson and Christie Murray both started against Wales, with Christie coming off after 62 minutes and Lisa coming off after 85. Then Scotland, they got put down into the secondary bracket, and they beat Slovakia 2-0, with Christie Murray coming on for the final 20 minutes of that one. And then Scotland beat Hungary on penalties after a 0-0 draw to secure 5th place in the tournament. So a respectable performance of them after that disappointing defeat to Wales in the opening game. If you want to know the rankings for the teams they played, obviously Scotland 23, Slovakia was 44 ranked in the world, and Hungary were 43. So there were games that they expect to win, and they did so comfortably. Well, apart from the penalties, but they put them away and that's all that matters, really, isn't it? So it's good to see that. Christie Murray also played in that Hungary game, I should say. She played the second half of that one. Now, moving on to Ireland, who had a dramatic performance of this one. Scotland obviously won the tournament last year, the last time the Pinatar Cup happened. So Ireland went one better, not one better than them that year, but they did one better for them. They are 31 in the rankings, and they beat Poland in their opening game, who are ranked 30 in the world, 2-1. Louise Quinn and Lucy Quinn both scored for Ireland in this one. A dramatic game. They came from 1-0 down after a penalty for a handball, I think, by Niamh Fahey, I think. I can't remember clearly, but it was 1-0 going into the second half. But they both played the whole game, and we're going to look at the goals now, so I'll bring them up on the goal for you. This is the first one. This is Lucy Quinn's goal. Ireland win the ball back deep in the Poland half, and then the ball is played to the right-hand side where Lucy's in good space. She cuts back inside and then unleashes a left-footed shot past the keeper. Great strike. And it's good to see Lucy coming back from a tough game for Birmingham City before the international break, but it's great to see her putting the ball away and showing why she is in starting lineup for Ireland and England, Birmingham City most of the time. Not England, apologies. That was that goal. And then with the second goal, we had Louise Quinn. This is a traditional Louise Quinn special. Bit on her head, ball played in, powers the defender out of the way, and then puts it into the bottom corner. Great stuff from the captain for Birmingham City. And they won that match 2-1. So Ireland, after that dramatic 2-1 win against Poland to kick off the competition, they took on Russia in the semi-finals, looking for a place in the Pinatar Cup final. Unfortunately, a 1-0 defeat to Russia, who are 6 places above them in the rankings at 25, meant that they would have to play in the bronze medal match, which coincidentally was against Wales, who knocked out Scotland in the first round. So Ireland were going into that game. Before we get into that one, though, Ireland against Russia, Jamie Finn started that one, and she played the entire game. It's good to see her get a chance on international level once again. Lucy Quinn, came on for the final 10 minutes of this, trying to get the winning equalising goal, but unfortunately they didn't. And Ireland had to settle for the third place playoff. So Ireland then took on Wales and beat them 1-0 to secure the bronze medal in this one. Louise Quinn and Lucy Quinn both started against Wales, with Louise playing the entire game, with Lucy being subbed for the last 5 minutes or so. Good 1-0 win for Ireland. So they secure that bronze medal in this competition and puts them in good stead going into the qualifiers coming up in the next international window. The other international people in action was also Greece. Veatriki Sarri, creative midfielder. She took on Israel in a double header. Sarri played 68 minutes in the opening game in a 1-0 win for Greece. And then Sarri played the last 30 minutes or so in the second game in a 2-2 draw. Much more goal fest that second game, but it's good to see Sarri getting the minutes for Greece. They haven't really had many games recently, so it's good to see that her get back over there to play for Greece and enjoy the nice weather, obviously, that the likes of the Ireland and the Scottish team got to as well with their game, obviously, in, I think it was in Spain, I believe, competition. Also going over to mainland Europe and this warm weather where we got a bit of a cold weather here, but was Northern Ireland, and they took on Faroe Islands, Switzerland and Romania. Faroe Islands are 99 ranks in the world, Switzerland are 17 and Romania are 42. Ex-Blues midfielder Chloe McCarran, if you can remember her last season. I was disappointed to see her go personally, but it's great to see her. She won a lot of domestic competitions back in Ireland last year, and obviously scores in this a 3-1 win over the Faroe Islands in their opening game of this tour for the Northern Irish side. Holloway came on at half-time and then saw out the game in that one. And then Holloway also started against Switzerland in this the toughest test of the competition, with Switzerland 17 in the rankings. I should have mentioned, Northern Ireland are 46 in the rankings, so 2 of these teams are higher ranked than them, apart from Faroe Islands. So Holloway started against Switzerland and played 65 minutes in a 2-2 draw. A good, respectable result against a really top side there. I think Alicia Lehmann was on scoring for Switzerland in that one. And I think it was Simone McGill who scored the 2 goals for Northern Ireland. Apologies if that's wrong, but I think that's right. Then the final game, Rebecca Holloway started against Romania, so she featured in all 3 matches and played 59 minutes in the 1-0 defeat to Romania in the final game. So, bit of a mixed result for Northern Ireland, but they got a decent result against Switzerland, so that'll give them good confidence going into the qualifiers as well as Republic of Ireland. Now moving on to the preview for Sunday, the big FA Cup game on the road to Durham. On Sunday, Birmingham City restart their domestic campaign with a trip to the northeast to face Women's Championship Durham. Lee Sanders' side are always there or thereabouts in the promotion race in the Championship. Their mixture of physicality and technical ability make them a potential banana skin for all WSL clubs. Having said that, Durham have gone for a bit of a rough patch in the league recently with just 4 wins from 10 matches, including a surprise defeat to bottom side Coventry United back in November. Durham, similarly to Birmingham City, have dipped their toes in the Irish market for new talent this past season. Keeper Nisha McClune joined in January from Piedmont United and Saoirse Noonan from Shelbourne. They were familiar names to Blues duo Eleanor Ryan Doyle and Jamie Finn, who both joined the club from Piedmont and Shelbourne respectively in the summer. Rounding up the new signings is Rio Hardy, who signed in January from Coventry United. who turned down WSL offers to join the established championship side. She'll be one to watch on Sunday with her flair and fierce shot if given chance to get the space and to unleash a shot on goal. Then there's the danger woman herself, Beth Heppel. One of those players is always given her due by those who watch her play. A goal machine who has strong ties to the northeast, which seemingly stops other teams from higher leagues trying to poach her because she is a really talented footballer. 8 goals and 6 assists so far this season. Not bad for someone who describes themselves as a midfielder, despite their prowess in front of goal. She tends to average about 9 goals a season and should not be taken lightly on Sunday. As for Blues, I think we need to see more from this midfield this time out. A few have accused the Blues midfield of being a bit soft in recent matches. Durham will bully you if you let them, so you can't let that happen. I want to make it clear, I don't think they are a dirty side, far from it. They are tough and very fair in what they do. I would genuinely love to see how they'd fare in the top flight. I don't think the likes of Man City, Chelsea would like to play Durham week in, week out because they won't like the pressure that they force on them. Arsenal as well would be under the cosh against them. But with a number of first team players off to their national teams, as I mentioned, this past week or so, it'll be interesting to see what Darren Carter does in terms of the team sheet on Sunday. Will we see players rested for the cup game ahead of the league matches? But we saw back in January against Sunderland in the FA Cup a few changes with the likes of Emily Whelan and Sarah Ewens getting a chance in the team. So maybe we'll see a few changes, but we'll look forward to seeing that team sheet on Sunday. That's all for this week's show. Thank you for watching me. If you've enjoyed this, leave a like on the video if you're watching on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers, so it'd be great if you could be a part of this journey for me. And if you have any questions, just drop them in the comments below and I will answer them on next week's show. So that's all from me. Thank you for watching and I'll see you very, very soon.